Well, that was pretty interesting. Brand new logo, except there's only one change. But you guys have probably known that for a while now, and that is it's just Erik, Erik, and all Erik. To quote a church friend. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the first broadcast of December of Falls Count Anywhere here on the Rhode Island Broadcasting Network. Erik Dunn is back alongside all of you. I hope you guys are having a good start to your month as we are counting down the days to Christmas time as we have already entered midway through the holiday season. And I'm going to address that logo first of all. That yes, as you noticed, there was a new logo with just my face. That is because for the last almost 3 months now, most of the majority of the 3 months of our shows, I should say of my show, it's been just me. Well, thanks to the man that is behind the computer and in the booth, Ron Rigo, the creator of this company, that has now been confirmed that it's now just an Erik Dunn show officially, and so we get people that want to be here with me in. And I welcome it, I accept it, and to be honest, I'm happy about it. And I also want to say a very special thank you to all of you because officially last week's episode, for the first time, and I think maybe almost, give or take, 6 to 8 weeks, has finally passed 50 views. Yeah, we finally have cracked 50. And that is before the next show airing. Because over the last couple of weeks, it's been, 48, 40, 46, 45, 44, 47 here and there. But very rarely have I seen it go past 50 in the last month. And that's a huge thank you I want to give to all of you, the fans of this program that have still stuck along with me for the ride, even though you've drastically seen my co-hosts drop one by one by one, and you're seeing just me. I'm not going to tell you that I'm pleased about it completely, because when I had everybody with me, we were a unit that looked to be unstoppable. We were putting out views out the ass. We were killing it. Over 100 views easily on average. But then as people started dropping, the number started to drop. And for a show like this, it's hard as a one-man band when you're just focusing on WWE and you're just focusing on wrestling. You got to have more people with you. And the man behind the scenes, Ron Rigo, is actually working on that as we speak to get me a couple more co-hosts, or at least one co-host. But until that happens, I don't mind being a one-man band until that time comes. And I'm just here to give you guys everything of me and everything that you will need to know about the up-to-the-date information regarding WWE from yours truly. Now, the funny thing about Falls Count Anywhere is that we don't take a Wednesday off unless, God forbid, there was like an emergency or I couldn't be there or something were to happen. I also want to take a chance to state for you guys as well that for those that have been tuning in to I'm Done with Sports, which is my other show on 990WBOB.com, our final week of airing, is going to be 2 weeks from tonight, which is the 20th. So as of the 20th, we will be off for Christmas and New Year's, and then we'll kick off very early 2024 to begin in January. For a brand new season. And the funny thing is, I will finish the full calendar year if I'm done with sports, which is really cool. And that is a huge thank you to all of you guys as well. But throughout our time together, getting back to wrestling here, SmackDown Raw results, the inside story about CM Punk's return to WWE, as well as Randy Orton's as well. But also with Randy, however, I have a little bit of an update for him regarding his injuries and the double fusion back surgery that he had that put him on the shelf for 18 long months. I actually have an update for you guys regarding just how close he was to actually retiring. So stay tuned for that. That'll be after our break. And so at this time, I want to inform all of you that this broadcast of Falls Count Anywhere is the exclusive property of Rhode Island Broadcasting for the use of our audience, and any publications, reuses, or redistributions by anyone, it is not prohibited, and it's given the express consent to be shared and is greatly appreciated. So basically, with all that being said, let's go into from earliest to latest, latest to earliest actually, the SmackDown results from back on the 1st. Now, this featured Randy coming back to SmackDown for the first time in a very long time. And I believe that when looking at the situation with Randy, the big question was, what was he going to do? And that was he going to sign to Raw or go to SmackDown? That was actually the main event of SmackDown on that Friday, and that was, where's Randy going to go? But also, who's he going to RKO? So going in order from top to bottom here, this is what happened. So Charlotte Flair, the Queen, the EST, Bianca Belair, and Shotzi brawled with Damage Control again. Bobby Lashley defeated Butch. I saw that coming. Santos Escobar defeated whoever the hell that was. I had no idea. Logan Paul, the new United States champion, returned back to SmackDown and back to WWE to announce that Santos Escobar, Bobby Lashley, Dragon Lee, Karrion Kross, Austin Theory, Grayson Waller, and Kevin Owens, and a superstar from NXT will battle to become the #1 contender to challenge him for that title. And right when that was announced, KO came out to interrupt Logan, and then it was Waller and Theory that basically kept on being you-know-whats, and he punched him, which I wasn't surprised there. He defeated Grayson Waller. I was rooting for that. Bianca Belair defeated Kairi Sane, her first match back in WWE in almost 2.5 years. And then what happened was, right when Randy was about to make his decision, LA Knight came out to help him feed off the bloodlines, Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. And after all that was being said, he took the Raw contract and threw it out of the ring. Yeah, he chucked it out of the ring. He signed on the dotted line to become exclusive to the Blue brand, but what's DTA? Don't trust anybody. But in the eyes of Randy, you never trust a Viper. Because what does a Viper do? They can strike out of nowhere. RKO out of nowhere on General Manager Nick Aldis. And that is how the night ended and the broadcast ended on Fox. With Randy standing tall, RKO'd everybody, and signed exclusively to SmackDown. But what that means is he's not done with the bloodline, and I know he's not done. That to me spoke volumes regarding Randy, because for 18 long months we had to deal with the drama and the problems that unfolded with the bloodline of them always having the reins in WWE. And that, to me, when I look at that, is basically kind of like, what do you do with that? What's going to happen there? Because the problem with Randy was that how are you going to be able to even handle that? Because when you look at the situation with Randy, you're like, okay, that's cool. Like, cool. Randy's on SmackDown. How about that? And You see LA Knight come out to help out Randy. That might be a very interesting tag team for who's going to combat the Bloodline going into January for the Royal Rumble. Now, getting into Randy in a little bit later on, we now know that Randy's signed to SmackDown. But the question that we're going to potentially find out on Raw this coming Monday night is, will CM Punk sign to Raw? I'm going to explain that also after the break, because I found some insideness on the return of Punk, but what plans could be in store for one of the most controversial, pulverizing figures in the history of this industry in WWE. So keep your eyes peeled and keep your ears open. But, however, I still have my doubts looking at the situation with Randy. Because if you think about it, what have we seen from Randy? Randy is the kind of guy who, in my eyes, deserves another title run. He deserves one more before his career is over. And the hardest thing I saw with WWE was their ratings took a hit when Randy wasn't there. When Randy is a champion, I don't care if it's U.S. title, Intercontinental title, Tag Team titles, Undisputed title, World Heavyweight title. Randy as a champion in WWE is good money. It's good money. Take it from me. As a guy, or should I say, as someone that's followed Randy throughout his entire career, or should I say, caught up on his entire career, because I didn't become a fan of this till I was 15. Randy, in my eyes, is one of the most electrifying superstars in the history of this company. And thank you for the comment. It says, no, Cody would be better. Well, again, I'm just making a point. I didn't say Randy as the World Heavyweight Champion. I said Randy as a champion in general is better for WWE. Cody, on the other hand, should not be any other champion but either World Heavyweight Champion or the Undisputed Champion. That would be for Cody. But that's also where the things kind of lie here. I looked at Randy as who, in my eyes, should dethrone Reigns. Who's going to take it off of him? Cody should have been the one to have dethroned him at WrestleMania. Because he didn't, if WWE tries to make Cody do it again, it's going to seem like, well, why'd you have him win the Rumble a year ago and then not have him beat Reigns? It doesn't make sense. Also, here's what doesn't make sense at all. Excuse me. Why did Cody not win? I am still trying to figure out why Cody didn't win. Because nothing has made sense regarding Roman Reigns in the year 2023. Nothing. He's had few title defenses this calendar year. He wasn't even slated to appear at Survivor Series. He has to defend it at the Rumble. Question is, who's it going to be? And I'm telling you right now, if it's Randy, they're going to make him lose. If I had it my way, dethrone Reigns at WrestleMania. Just get rid of him. Dethrone him in Philly. Put it on someone that deserves it more than him. And ride the wave until it crashes. Unfortunately, here's my concern with Randy if they decide to give it to him. With Randy's health, that could be a scary move that WWE's creative team could make. And let me tell you why. Randy just came back from a double fusion back surgery. When we come back from the break, I'm going to explain why that surgery it wasn't a small chance. It was a big chance that didn't happen. It was a chance. There was a chance. Randy's career could have ended from that surgery. Randy even stated this, talking about how lucky he got and how grateful he feels. But on the same side, when I think about it, when you hear what I'm about to read you after the break, you'll understand why I said what I said, but you'll also see Randy's side of it. So before we get into that break for about 75 seconds, let's go over the SmackDown results. Because SmackDown's done. The last thing about the SmackDown results before I go into Raw this past Monday night is with Randy now exclusive to the Blue brand. I mentioned Punk. Is he going to sign to Raw? Will Adam Pearce get him over? I'll explain that after the break. But from Raw this past Monday night, Drew McIntyre is showing once again his old ways. Drew and Sami Zayn engaged in a war of words. McIntyre defeated Sami because Sami, even though for some reason, I don't know how he got cleared, but that knee was really injured still. Sami got cleared. And then Nia Jax defeated Shayna Baszler, and who came out? The man Becky Lynch confronted Jax. Can you guys think back for a second? Think back to 5 years ago, and I actually can't believe it's been this long. 5 years ago, before Survivor Series, Becky Lynch didn't get cleared. Why? Because of a punch right to the upper part of the jaw from Nia Jax that busted her open from the cheek down. And it was because of that WWE Medical didn't clear her for Survivor Series. We all know what happened there. But however, 5 years later, retribution could be on the way for Jax. When Lynch came out, the first thing I told myself was 5 years ago is still on her mind. She's not over it yet. Yeah. I think if you're a fan and you're looking at that, Nia Jax could finally pay for her crimes of being an unsafe performer to work for in WWE and work with, which is also why she got fired. So let's see how that goes. In this comment too, there are a good crop of potential champions for the women. You're damn right. And you know what? I can name 3 right there. Flair, Belair, Lynch. Done. There's nobody else. Those are the only 3 that's even worthy of challenging Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. Nobody else in that locker room can even hold a candle to them. Those 3 are 3 of the greatest champions in the history of this company. Prove me wrong. Tell me when I'm lying. Nobody in the last, give or take 2 years, nobody in WWE in the last 2 years has been able to match their level of tenacity, talent, and hunger and drive. Nobody. And that's just it. Anyway, DIY, Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, they defeated Imperium in a 2 out of 3 fall match. A 2 out of 3 falls match, and that was an awesome match. I am so happy that DIY is back together. We all can think back to when they split. That was just a Ciampa. And then Kenneth Carter and Katina Chance defeated Tegan Nox and Natalya, and they, I believe, could be. I believe that they could be the next ones up to challenge for the tag team titles. History had awesome chance a while back. Hogan, Randy Savage bought back, but no. Hang on a second. That's not what I was talking about. I was talking about women. Listen to what I just said. I said, tell me in the last 2 years of WWE if there's been any other women besides Belair, Flair, and Becky in that women's division that has been better than them regarding challengers and regarding being the number one contender for the women's titles. Rhea right now deserves to be champion. Regardless of her as a heel, she deserves to be champion. She's waited a long time for it. I see it. But there's used to be no one, really. True. That comment's accurate. There used to be nobody. Because WWE couldn't find anybody worthy enough. Because when you are champion, if you are champion of the women's division, whether you're the women's world heavyweight champion or the undisputed women's champion, you are the face of WWE and you represent the entire company. One wrong move, one slip of the foot, gone. It can be given to you, and just like that, it can be taken away from you. That's just the way it works in this company. That's just the way it is. Shinsuke Nakamura vowed to end Cody Rhodes' story. They'll be facing off on next week's Raw. The Creed brothers, who are the number one contenders to the tag team titles, defeated Don Mysterio and JD McDonough of the Judgment Day. And here's the funny part. They told Damian Priest on Raw that they're the real deal, the Creed. I'm seeing some things out of them I don't think I've ever seen an entire team. Yeah, I don't think so. And then Seth Rollins defeated Jey Uso to retain the World Heavyweight title. But what happened was Drew attacked both Jey and Seth. It was one hell of a match. I honestly thought it would go either way, and Jey could have won it. But on the same token, whoever beats Seth is going to do it big. So, I think Jey will get a second chance. But it'll be up to them. Oh, speaking of Jey, the word yeet, the word yeet has been banned because the company had a copyright issue with getting the rights to it. So that T-shirt pulled off of has been pulled off of WWEshop.com, and Jey can no longer use it. So basically, the word yeet has been neat. So basically, the word yeet has been needed. So it's been nixed. It's gone. Can't say it could have happened to a nicer word. I mean, like a lot of fans got used to it. It was funny. But I would love to see the company go back on YouTube and all their social media platforms and take him out of those videos where he says it in his promo. So, but whatever. Okay, so with that being said, after 25 minutes running of this stuff, we need to take our only break here. When we come back, the inside return of CM Punk. I got to explain to you guys more about why he's back. I gave that to you last week when Survivor Series ended, but I got to get more in there. Randy Orton is it with the same thing. I'll give you an update about Randy. But also some interesting things that he stated. I'll explain all that for you, and then we're going to come back to wrap it up afterwards when we return after this. You're watching Falls Count Anywhere here on the Rhode Island Broadcasting Network, and I will be right back. Welcome back to Falls Count Anywhere here on the Rhode Island Broadcasting Network. And yes, we are about to wrap this up. And the bright side about wrapping this up is I get to go down into the nitty and the gritty for WWE. Now, last week I did about updates about Punk and Randy. Okay? And I think that the biggest thing that I look at regarding this is that we didn't really know what was going on about Randy until we actually got the chance to say, okay, here we go. And now we got the chance to actually understand about Punk's return. Now, when I tell you about Punk's return, the biggest thing about Punk is it was a shocker to say the least. I could not believe that he came back. I was so happy that he came back. And I think that when I look at the situation about it, it is awesome. And I am hoping this is a sign of things to come. And I also look at this situation with Punk as maybe a way for redemption. And here's the update I'll give you guys about Punk right now. And this is a little bit more behind the scenes of his intro back to WWE and his return. So for Punk, the impossible has become a reality. What do I mean by that? WWE signed its most significant free agent in decades, reintroducing CM Punk back to the company. But Vince was not the driving force behind it. The new era of WWE was on full display with the return of Punk, who left the company in 2014 and received termination papers on his wedding day. Vince oversaw that clerical error, which he apologized for on the Steve Austin show exactly 8 years ago. Interestingly enough, McMahon also noted, I hope that one day we'll be able to get back together again. Punk returned right before the show went off the air and the Allstate Arena exploded, and it stands as one of the most exciting surprises in WWE storied history. And it was engineered by the company's top power brokers. CEO Nick Khan and the CCO Paul Levesque, but we know him as Triple H. WWE's head of creative, and Nick Khan, who's WWE's president, have crafted an entirely different level of intrigue and excitement in the product by embedding Punk back into the company. The result is that after a 9-year split filled with acrimony and a continuous lawsuit, Punk is back in WWE. Punk's contract has been confirmed that it extends beyond WrestleMania. But on the subject of WrestleMania, Punk's presence added to a star-studded show. Though he did not appear at WrestleMania 30, he'll be a part of a WrestleMania 40 a decade later, and it is entirely possible he'll be joined by John Cena, Brock Lesnar, and even Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Prior to Punk's return to Survivor Series, the talent in the main event were made aware that the show was ending with Punk. Much was made of Seth Rollins' reaction to his arrival, and a visibly upset Rollins expressed his frustration both through actions and words. One of Triple H's most trusted performers, Punk was entrusted, okay? Punk was entrusted to be welcoming back to the WWE Universe, but Rollins was entrusted with the responsibility of establishing a new title as World Heavyweight Champion, a role in which he's flourished. Triple H would not send Rollins out in front of a global audience without informing him what was going to unfold. To Rollins' credit, people bought into the story being told, generating significant interest in his frustrated reaction to Punk's return. There are plans for Punk to feud with Roman Reigns, but it will not be Punk against Reigns first, as that spot belongs to Rollins. A feud between Rollins and Punk is a massive positive for both men. Punk can still wrestle at a high level, but his work will only be enhanced in the ring with a world-class wrestler like Rollins. While it's not the current favorite, there's plenty of reason to believe Punk Rollins could serve as the main event for the opening night of WrestleMania 40. For Rollins, that would simply not be the case without CM Punk. Punk's return to Raw was also very strategic, with Khan hard at work on a lucrative new media rights deal. During his controversial run in AEW, Punk proved to be a phenomenal asset with Warner Bros. Discovery CEO David Hasselhoff. Punk was a key figure in the creation of AEW's Collision, which was set to be built around him. Ironically, had Punk stayed with AEW instead of getting terminated, he likely would have worked Collision on Saturday instead of making his industry-altering return to Survivor Series. But the biggest thing with Punk right now is, a major element is WWE did not chase him. Punk opened the line of communication. Yeah, Punk opened the line of communication, and he listened and then agreed to what was asked of him before signing the contract. Punk is motivated to show the world his best, to such an extent that he has returned to a place he once vowed to have exited permanently. His re-entry back into the company, where he became an international star, cannot be understated. It is one of the most compelling returns in Raw's, in not just Raw, SmackDown, and WWE history, but wrestling history. On top of all that, it was not engineered by McMahon, who has been WWE's end-all be-all for the last 4 decades. This time, it was Triple H and Nick Khan who were responsible for reacquiring Punk and turning the entire industry upside down. Punk is back in WWE, and the excitement begins anew. Tell me if that doesn't explain everything to you about Punk. He's back past WrestleMania. It also was confirmed that Punk signed a multi-year deal with WWE. He's not going anywhere. I am so happy Punk's back. Here's the funny part. In his opening promo when he returned to Raw and for WWE, he stated the same thing he did a little bit over 2 years ago when he debuted at AEW. For all this time, you guys have been chanting my name everywhere. Even when I wanted to forget myself, you didn't forget who I was. And for that, I want to say thank you, because it means everything. But at the end of it, he said, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. I wonder where I've heard that one before. Comment here, Return of the Yawning Man. Well, yeah. I've been up since 6:30 this morning with work. And just getting things ready for me at the house. But, I mean, Punk is doing a lot of things right now that could be slated as an interesting run. And now, to wrap this up, let's get into Randy. Because I have an update for you on WWE's plans for Randy and how it views his official return. Now, just real quick, Punk needs to just do what he needs to. I agree. But I also want to state this too. Before I get to Randy, the last thing I'd say about Punk, there's a behavioral clause in his contract, which means he cannot act out in any way unless authorized. Which means if he acts out, he'll get punished for it. Do I think he'll be fired? Probably not. Because now Triple H is his boss. "20 public lashings." Not sure what that means, but okay. Ugh. Yep. By the way, Ron's nickname for me at times is Yawny Man. So, I guess that's just the way it goes, right? Yawny Man, and that's just it, you know? But however, regarding Randy, oh, knock it off. Way down upon a yawning river. Can you stop it? All right. Let's just keep on track here. Now, just real quick, while it almost got lost in the hoopla that was CM Punk's return, Randy's return was just as monumental. Now that he's back, after spending over a year and a half on the shelf, recovering from a back injury, one that at times looked like it could end the Hall of Famer's potential, the future Hall of Famer's career. But now that he's back, WWE is wasting no time getting him back into the swing of things because he has now joined SmackDown, including a feud with the Bloodline. It was made obvious when SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis offered Orton matches against the group, and also after they attacked him. But also, on another hint that I look at that is Orton and Reigns are destined to cross paths with producer Michael Hayes, who not only produces most of the Bloodline segments, but produced both Orton's Raw and SmackDown appearances from last week. The decision was made for him to appear there before joining SmackDown in order for Orton to wrap up loose ends with Jey Uso and the Judgment Day, giving him a clean slate for SmackDown. And since Orton has returned, WWE is said to be over the moon about how both his return to Survivor Series came across, as well as his performances on Raw and SmackDown, and especially his conditioning. Everything is on the up and up for Randy. Now, the last thing I want to give to you is this. Randy was with Logan Paul's podcast called Impulsive. And these were the highlights from the interview that can be found here. And these were the tougher questions. When he was asked two important things. So when he was being asked if he was going to leave WWE for Hollywood, right? The hardest thing for Randy was when you looked at that situation and you basically told yourself, well, how's that going to happen? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But then when you looked at it more, everything else started to come into place. And for Randy, this is what was said. So when Logan Paul asked him this is what he said. Having no plans to leave WWE for Hollywood, he stated, I'm going to be here for the rest. Like, this is me. I'm not moving on to Hollywood. I love what I do. I just had 18 months of recovering from spinal fusion surgery. Sorry, I can't control that on there. I was kind of faced with the fact I may not be able to do this again. It's almost like I got a second lease on my career. I'm not going to take a day for granted, not a second in that ring. And then feeling more in his element now than ever. Orton stated, I changed a lot of stuff off these past 18 months. I really needed the time. I had a lot of ailments. I couldn't stay for more than a couple of minutes without having pain shoot down my legs. When I would sit, I would have a disc slipping every time I would bend. On a plane, sitting here, my feet would go numb and I would have pain shooting down my legs. It was that hard. That last year before I had to leave because of my back, I was in a tag team with former superstar Matt Riddle. I gotta give him props because that year we tagged together, I was not able to be in that ring unless I was in there with someone like him because he was able to take the brunt of the physicality. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have made it that far. I had some great doctors. They fixed me up right. They didn't cut through any muscle, which would enable me to get back into the ring. Because once you start cutting muscle like that, that's never going to heal back, and you're done. I'm just blessed all the way around. Well, I wasn't lying to you, was I? If they had to cut muscle out of Randy, his career would have been over. Take it from him. And it's just awful when you think about something like that, and you think about Randy, and you're like, how can that be? Randy's not going to be on forever. But what I do know about Orton is, Randy's a fighter. And Randy's going to keep going until he can't do it any longer. But as far as I'm concerned, with all this being said, Punk and Randy back is not only great for business, it's even better for WWE. So for next week's broadcast, SmackDown results from this Friday, Raw results from next Monday, and some more updates I'll have you guys based on what happens from both shows. But as we're wrapping things up, I want to make sure I state for you as well. With Randy and Punk back, everything can be on the up and up for WWE. And just a reminder, Falls Count Anywhere is live every Wednesday, as of right now, every Wednesday at 5, with me, Erik Dunn, on YouTube, Twitch, X, and right here on Facebook, as well as RI Broadcasts at Buy Me a Coffee. That's how you can also support the show. We're also on Red Circle, Amazon, Google, Spotify, TuneIn, and Podbean Podcasts. Follow us on our Facebook and our Instagram accounts to help grow this and make it even stronger. We're also available on YouTube at Rhode Island Broadcasting and a Kick at Rhode Island Broadcasting. The more you guys help us, the more this show will grow. And as of right now, it is confirmed that it is going to be just me running solo until we get others in. But I want you to know how much I'll keep putting in the work and how grateful I am that you guys are fans of this show. Because it means everything to me. So on behalf of all of us, Rhode Island Broadcasting, and the man behind the scenes, the man that created all this, Ron Rigo, this is Erik Dunn saying so long once again and thank you from my home in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. This has been a presentation of Falls Count Anywhere here on the Rhode Island Broadcasting Network. Next Wednesday night, Raw and SmackDown results, any more updates on WWE, even any more updates regarding getting ready for the Royal Rumble as we make the turn into 2024. And until then, guys, for the first time that I'll say it, which will probably be the first of many, happy holidays from Erik Dunn and Rhode Island Broadcasting. And thank you guys so much again for watching and listening.